Thank you. And it indeed makes my job a little easier presenting after my friend from TCS. Because TCS has been a very strong partner of Oracle. And the first slide of his I saw, I said, oh, he's taken my slide. So recognize this slide from his presentation. Now that's because Oracle and TCS have a long relationship of partnering. And before Oracle came into India, TCS used to sell Oracle products in India. I needn't go through the slide, but I have to connect to something our Vice Chancellor said. Now what he said is that today, if you have a high-speed internet, then you have everything. And the high-speed internet is what is the backbone of your Industry 4.0. Today, the access you have to information across the world and what you can achieve with the internet is something that is changing the way we live. Okay, I read a joke which said that there are two kinds of people who don't sleep at night. One is people who are in love, and the second is people who have a high-speed internet connection. And the high-speed internet connection is what is changing the world. Okay, now these are all buzzwords. You heard, you hear about it all the time. 3D printing, sensors, robots, drones, simulation, augmented reality, cloud computing, big data and analytics, industrial internet, cyber security, horizontal and vertical integration. Now, all this has come about because we have the high-speed internet, and every device today that we use is digitally enabled. Every device generates data, information, every microsecond, every nanosecond. And if we were to track all this information, there is a huge amount of data that we collect and we have to analyze. Okay, and when we have huge amounts of data that we have to collect and analyze, the need for big data to analyze this. Again, with the internet is the onset of cloud computing. Because today, you do not have to have a server or IT infrastructure in your organization. You have a high-speed internet connection, and you can connect to servers anywhere in the world and run your IT operations from these servers. Okay? It's completely changed the way IT works. And it gives rise to a number of things because of this. And one of the key aspects is security. Because your data is out there on the internet and can be accessible by anybody unless you keep it secure. So a very important aspect of the internet is securing your data. Okay. Now, when you're looking at digitization, there are a number of new technologies today that manufacturing has access to and should use if you want to stay on top of the game. The first thing is digital collaboration. Okay, today in today's connected world, all of us have WhatsApp, have your email, and the applications that we build. Also, the IT applications have to make use of this connectivity. And if you look at the products that my company builds, that is our cloud application, they are enabled for digital collaboration. So when you use the applications, all the users are connected through the system. Okay? The next is Internet of Things. Now, today, any device, any asset that you have, the machines that you use in manufacturing, all of them are digitally enabled. And if you have digitally enabled devices, they can connect to a digital platform and you can monitor this through your IT applications. Okay? So this Internet of Things is something, which is causing an explosive growth in the amount of data that is being produced and which has to be analyzed. Okay? Social. Now, the importance of Twitter, Facebook, Google is that the information that you create can be made available instantly to anybody. Okay? And the term in the digital world is that the ants have megaphones. Okay? So if you have a product today that you manufacture, the smallest of your customer can put a comment about it on the internet. And that comment is as powerful as a press release. Everybody has access to it. Okay? So what you need to control about your product and the image of your company has now, reached a very different proportion. And anybody can post anything on the internet. Okay? Next thing is cloud. I spoke about cloud. Big data, because the amount of data that you create could be totally unstructured data. And, with the data that you have, retailers are actually figuring out that you have a need for a product that even you don't know about. Okay. 3D printing, I won't talk much about that. If you look at Tesla, now what Elon Musk is doing is that he says that if you go behind the machine that makes the machine, we're going to produce 5 times more. Okay, that's the kind of production improvement that Tesla is looking at because of improvising their automation. It's a Korean tire manufacturer, Nexon Tires. Now they have built a completely automated tire factory, and with this automation, they are producing 25% more tires with lesser manpower. Okay? Huge improvement in their production and lowering their costs, their manpower costs. G-Power. For every asset that they have, they maintain a digital footprint. Now, what do you mean by a digital footprint? A digital footprint is nothing but tracking all of the pulses or the information that is coming from your asset, the state that it is in, tracking it every second, and using this information, for preventive maintenance and for improvising your asset. Okay? For instance, if you're looking at monitoring production, if you have a batch of items that have been produced that have bad quality, can you look at the temperature conditions, the humidity conditions, what was the speed of your generator at that point in time, and then make predictions as to which conditions hamper your quality, and can you avoid that? Now, this is the kind of analysis that you can do if you have digital footprints and you capture all of the information. Okay. Now, today, with digitization or with Industry 4.0, what are companies looking to derive? The first thing is definitely lower costs. Okay. Additional revenue, we all want more money. And we need to have complete clarity on all states of production. Now, I used to work for a manufacturing company when I started off, and my first task was we developed a homegrown ERP for this company. And so they said after implementing the ERP, my efficiency has gone down. That's what the floor manager came and told us. So, and why is it that the efficiency had gone down? Because earlier, they would plan a production run for a certain quantity, and when the production run is over, they would plan for producing something additional, and they would calculate that this, what they produce additional, is relating to a higher efficiency. So the efficiency was always at 150%, and after implementing our application, they said the efficiency is never more than 100%. The maximum that we can do is 100%. But then what we told them is that when we are implementing this application, we are planning the most efficient production run that you can do, and ensuring that end to end your entire production cycle you are using. Okay, so you cannot really be more efficient than what we predict. Okay, it took them some time to understand that, but the fact is that unless you have control over your data, over your plan, and how it's being executed, somebody can always tamper with the information. So it's important that end to end you have control over the data. Okay. The next thing is logistics. We're looking at, in this world, we're looking at a zero inventory kind of operation. Today, when Amazon, you order a book of Amazon, now Amazon may not have it in print. Okay, what Amazon does is, send a request to the printer. Printer prints the book and ships it to you. So it's a zero inventory. There is no inventory that you need to maintain, and you can react the moment you get an order. Again, 100% traceability and standardization. So the need for the hour is standardization, because unless you standardize, you cannot connect your applications. Okay. Now, Oracle has got a complete end-to-end suite of applications that can track your entire manufacturing process. Okay. So starting with your R&D. Okay, so we have an application that helps you track your R&D process. You can even track innovation within your organization. So if there is an ideation process that you want to open out to your entire workforce, you can use our platform to get ideas from all your employees, evaluate these ideas, and then use that to create your product. Okay? Now, at the other end of the spectrum, once your product is ready and in the market, there is, you have your service, and any bugs or defects in your product, the information for that can be captured in the service application, or service cloud as we call it, and fed back into your R&D process. Okay, so it's a complete cycle here. So in between, we have your marketing or order processing, which again we have an application for on the cloud for managing, and once the product is manufactured, to ship it to the customer, we have the digital supply chain products or the application. It's called the Oracle Transportation Management Cloud, and we are able to optimize shipment of the product, finished good, to your consumers. Okay? And the smart connected factory is the term that we use for a completely IoT-enabled manufacturing plant. Okay? Now, Oracle does not produce the devices, but what we do is we provide a platform which can capture all of these signals coming in from these devices. We provide a platform where you can define these devices, and once they're defined and you're capturing information coming from it, then we have the data platform and the applications to monitor and manage this. Okay. We have modern shipping and logistics cloud, and all of this is supported by the modern finance cloud, okay, which is which manages, it's a suite of applications that help you manage corporate finance, and human capital management cloud, which is a suite of applications that help manage your workforce. So it not only keeps track of payroll and salary and the other aspects of your workforce, but you can also manage talent development using this application. Okay, and all of this to interface with the customer, we have our customer engagement suite of applications. So if you look at the entire spectrum of applications that we have, we can cover the entire manufacturing cycle, end to end. Okay, and that's the power of the Oracle Cloud, is that we can track your business operation end to end. Okay. Now the tools or the technology that we have to enable this is our mobility, analytics, IoT, and of course our integration, the connectivity applications or the platform that we have. Okay. Now, when we look at a smart connected factory, okay, what do we think about? Now, it's a factory where any machine is connected to one digital platform. Okay. So now the factories, you could have multiple factories. Okay. The factories may be connected or disconnected. Why we say connected or disconnected? Because there are certain countries where there are high data security requirements, and they don't allow for certain information to be on a public cloud. Okay, and that's where we have these disconnected factories. But the power of our platform is that you can still get information, whether it's from a disconnected source or a connected source, and analyze it, okay, within the security norms that is defined. So the first thing is to know about all the devices. The second is to decide about what you need to do with the information that you have. Okay, so that's when our applications help production monitoring and predictive maintenance. So I'll go through a detailed use case or a case study of this in my next slide. Okay. The next is in the execute cycle, we have asset monitoring and predictive issue resolution. And in the learn, we have quality and monitoring. So learn is where we analyze what went wrong and improvise so that it doesn't happen again. Okay. Now I'll go through an example of how our applications are used for asset monitoring. Now, what are the applications of asset monitoring that you see in day-to-day life? It could be remote monitoring of vending machines. Okay, you have vending machines and you need to check whether it needs to be refilled, what are the products that need to be refilled, whether and the price of each product. All of this can be programmed into the vending machine and you could track it remote. The inventory management on warehouses, okay, condition of refrigerated cargo, okay, improved uptime for revenue equipment. So when you have any equipment that you're renting out, how is it and maintaining it, these are all assets that can be monitored with IoT, provided they are digitally enabled. Okay, now the traditional method of asset monitoring, it's manual. Okay, so you have a asset code and physically you go and verify each asset. Okay, now that gets boring in today's world. You cannot even hire an employee who would do it. You don't know the condition of the asset. Sometimes it's locked somewhere in some warehouse and you don't even know it exists. Only when there is a need for it, you send someone, they'll probably take the whole day to find out where the asset is. Okay. With the asset monitoring application, if it is, IoT enabled, you can instantly locate the asset. You can constantly monitor the health of the asset. Okay. You can proactively perform maintenance on the asset, and you can integrate this with other business processes. Now we'll see how we can do that. Okay. Now the business benefits are, if you look at, now I, for instance, picked up women in my, slide, because yes, there are women who are the VP of operations and also facility managers. Okay. Now how does it help a VP of operations? For the VP of operations, it extends asset life. Okay. It ensures that all assets are tracked as per guidelines. It helps identify investments and maintain a certain service level. And for the facility manager, I don't have to worry about where the asset is. I can just look at a screen and figure out where my asset is. Okay. I can improve the utilization of my asset and reduce downtime. Okay. I'll walk you through a customer journey of asset monitoring. Okay, so that it makes it easier for you to understand and comprehend what the beauty of this application is. Now, in the traditional approach, we have an on-premise application called Enterprise Asset Management. Now, you can track all the assets in your organization. Even to school or college, you can track all the assets in your organization using that. Okay? But the thing is that it's a tracking. You can track the asset. You cannot view a screen and figure out where the asset is. Okay? Now, suppose you have an IoT asset monitoring application. Okay? Using there's a built-in integration with your enterprise asset management application and asset monitoring. You can visually view all the assets in a dashboard. Makes it very easy for you. Okay. Now, if you go one step further and you attach Bluetooth tags to all of your assets, you can monitor each individual asset. Okay. Now, you go one step further and do a geofencing of your assets. You can actually track if they're in place or somebody has tried to move it. Very important for telecom, where you have towers and there's a lot of, pilferage that happens, equipment gets stolen. You can track when something is out of place. Okay. If you want to add a new asset, you can add it. You have the capability of defining. When you add an asset, the system is so configurable that you can decide, you can even define what is it that you want to track about the asset. Do you want to track a GPS tracking? Do you want to track the temperature, humidity conditions? I mean, are there any pulses from the asset that you want to track? If there's any frequency that you need to track, all of this can be defined. And you, besides defining all the, what you need to track, you can also define what is an operable limit for this. So if it goes higher or below a certain limit, there is a problem, it's not functioning well. Okay, and that is where you can track how the asset is functioning. Okay. Now, this is where you set up rules, okay, to generate work orders. Now, the moment there is a fault in your asset, since we have a completely connected ERP cloud, you can trigger off a work order the moment you figure out that one of your assets requires a part that is malfunctioning. You can trigger a work order for the asset, and this thing is completely automated. Okay. You can check overheating of your asset, and if there is overheating, you know what needs to be done. You can take that preventive action. Okay. And this is also connected with our service application, where a technician who has a mobile will get a notification that there's an asset in this location, okay, that needs to be fixed. Please go and fix it. Okay. Completely connected, completely automated. you can monitor all of this on a desktop. So I hope I took you through, an asset monitoring applications, and the power of what digitization can do and how you can improve production and monitoring using digitization. So we at Oracle, we enable smart connected factories. We help improve their bottom line, improve profitability, and make sure all your data is authentic and available as soon as you need it. Before I end, I'd like to talk about Oracle Academy. Now, Oracle Academy, my friends from Oracle Academy, please stand. Okay. So we have a partnership with ICT and with educational institutions. Now, any training that we do, so the set of products that I talk about, training of any of this, on any of this, can be made possible through Oracle Academy. We do free programs for educational institutions. We support around 6.3 million students in 128 countries. Okay, so there is a breadth of knowledge that we bring and breadth of experience that we can share with educational institutions. And we partner with over 15,000 schools, colleges, and universities. And we believe that everyone has the ability to chase their dreams. Just dream big enough. One thing that I wanted to share from my experience as a recruiter and managing a consulting practice is that, when I hire from engineering colleges, one of the gaps that I see in the students is their ability to communicate what they're capable of doing. Okay, so as heads of institutions, I would earnestly request all of you to pay special attention to that. The reason I'm able to come here and present in front of all of you is because my teachers in college made it a point that everybody should take a class in front of class. So we had a teacher called Dr. Hemlata Tyagarajan. So I studied in the National Institute of Technology, Trichy. And she used to take discrete mathematics. And she made it a point, she said she used to come to class and say, I'm not teaching, you teach me. And she would just, the first class, she would assign topics to the entire class. And she would let us go. And after that, it was left to the students to learn that topic in depth and come and present it. She would enable us, she would be there for us, but she would make sure that we presented the topic. And she was a very hard critic. She would rip us apart if we did a bad job. And that helped us. Okay, so please make sure that all of you do this as well. Thank you.